The 2023 academic year has started at the country's coastal schools, but there is still a backlog in repairs at some schools that were damaged by last year's devastating floods, particularly in KZN. Basic Education Minister Motshekga visited the province today to monitor progress as teachers and pupils return to class. eNCA's Lethiwe Mdluli is following that story for us, and she joins us now live. Lethiwe, exactly what did Motshekga say after visiting some of the schools? I mean, I remember you showed us images yesterday of some schools that are still damaged.
Well, Motshekga, coming from yesterday, we went to two schools, one in Brittonwood and also another one in Durban. And those schools are one of the two schools that were damaged by the floods last year. In Brittonwood, we did find that the school had not been fixed almost a year later. And also in Durban, we did find that the school had existing problems. 5 years going to 6 years, they don't have working toilet facilities. And they were also complaining about not having running water and electricity. And today we actually went to the Umlazi district with the minister, where she was monitoring the reopening of schools. We started at a preschool, and it's a previously disadvantaged preschool, where she spoke to learners and also educators at that preschool. She is saying that she's seen that a lot of infrastructure at the schools that they've visited today needs to be fixed. We also went to another primary school in Umlazi, not so far from Kwamgaga High School, where that protest on Monday took place, where parents were protesting about the fact that there's a lack of teachers at the school, and they were saying that their children as a result are failing. So when I posed the question to the minister about hiring of teachers and also fixing the damaged infrastructure, because it's been going on for years, she did say that the department will be looking into it. She had something to say about the infrastructure that they did manage to see in the Umlazi district, saying that they've seen that a lot of schools have asbestos, which is something that the department needs to fix immediately. She also made a comment about the fact that a lot of rural schools do not have electricity in the province, and also the fact that they do not have running water. I also asked the minister, or the MEC rather, for education here in the province as to why it has taken so long for them to fix the damaged schools by the floods, and her answer was that they are now in the tender process. They are now awarding tenders to different people so that these schools can start getting fixed. And in the meantime, they are saying that they've provided temporary structures to majority of those schools, which is not a solution. Something that the teachers union raised yesterday, saying that a lot of classrooms are overcrowded, and this is not going to work because it's summer. So there's a lot of issues that are currently facing the education department here in the province, and it seems like these problems would not be fixed. But when the minister commented on the infrastructure issues, this is what she had to say a bit earlier on.
A major problem with infrastructure. It manifests itself in different ways. It's old schools that were built by apartheid, no staff room, no specialist rooms, very few ablutions. We're discussing with the MEC to say we have to see if we can add another block, because the number of toilets we have does not match the number of learners. There are too many learners for the types of seats, number of seats. So it's a big problem. It's a big problem. So infrastructure, it confirms our ongoing challenges with infrastructure. We have limited resources, we have huge demands. We have to deal with new settlements. In the meantime, we have to do a redress. These are apartheid schools, you can see. These trains, and there's nothing more. No specialist room, nothing.
And Lethiwe, what's important here, of course, is the pupils. Those are the important stakeholders who are supposed to be learning at these particular schools. Did you have a chance to speak to any of them? Are they excited anyway, at least for the new year?
Well, Motshekga, we did speak to a lot of children that we saw today on their first day of school, and they have said that they're very excited for the new year. But unfortunately, majority of the learners that we spoke to are quite young, because the department only visited primary schools and also preschools. But I also want to touch on the fact that the Premier of the province, Durban, who's also joining the minister in monitoring those schools, has touched on the fact that KZN will be piloting the new new registration program that they want to introduce, which is the online registration program. I understand that Gauteng is currently using it. It seems to not be working for other provinces, but the Premier has promised that they're going to try and make this program work for KZN. As to how exactly they're going to make this work, it remains a question, because majority of the schools here in KwaZulu-Natal are in rural areas. And when we asked her about those schools that are in rural areas, how those children will be able to access this kind of technology to be able to register, she did say that it's something that they've been working on for years, and when the time actually comes, they will actually let us know as to how these schools and how these pupils will be accommodated. So it's something that we will have to wait and see for this year. The Premier saying that they will be piloting it towards the end of the year and hoping that it will work in this province.